Pare, the others. Siddha Guna, the Siddhas. Maharshi, along with the great sages. Yea, who, Vai, indeed. Samathat, from all sides. Anu, after. Nilam, Lord Shiva. Namaskritar, making obeisances. Raha, said. Shashanka, Shekaram, to Lord Shiva. Krita Pranama, having made obeisances. Rahasam, smiling. Eva, as Atmahu, Lord Brahma. All the sages who were sitting with Lord Shiva, such as Narada and others, also offered their respectful obeisances to Lord Brahma. After being so worshipped, Lord Brahma, smiling, began to speak to Lord Shiva. Before, by His divine grace, Lord Brahma was smiling because he knew that Lord Shiva is not only easily satisfied, but easily irritated as well. He was afraid that Lord Shiva might be in an angry mood because he had lost his wife and had been insulted by Daksha. In order to conceal this fear, he smiled and addressed Lord Shiva as follows. Om Jnanam Jnananjana Chakshuru Niranjana Smahi Shri Guruve Namah Krishna Padam Sadhana Dhanita Sri Vishakamitam Sra He Krishna Guna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Govika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindaveshwari Vrishabhanusute Pranamami Haripriye Vanshakamalakanyasya Kripa Sindhuvadevata Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In this 6th chapter of the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we find Lord Brahma approaching Lord Shiva in a very, very special way. Of course, the background has been discussed in all previous classes to this. Daksha, one of the most prominent personalities in this particular universe, became a victim of his own apparent greatness. He was so beautiful, utterly beautiful in his physical features. There's no possibility of anyone in the world today at this age having the physical beauty of Daksha. To see his beauty, you didn't even need the sun or the light. His body was self-luminous. It was effulgent. He was a great learned scholar, incredible intellect and memory. He was born highest possible order, the son of Lord Brahma. In that dynasty. And he was called Daksha because he was literally expert at anything he did. He was so skilled, so proficient at speaking, at music, at management, and especially at having children. He was Prajapati. And therefore, he was glorified, honored, even worshipped. Not only by common people, his own children. Even the demigods gave him such honor and respect. So as Kunti Devi warns us, Janmaishwarya Shruti Shruti Edamananda. These opulences, which people strive to achieve because they make us attractive, can be the greatest pitfalls on the path of truth. We cannot even imagine the wealth of Daksha. He had such power, such prestige, such wealth, such intellect, and such a false ego, which usually comes along with all these other things. Unless one is a Kinshanagotra, unless one actually and really feels that nothing is mine, I'm only the caretaker. After all, Krishna explains in Gita, I am the intelligence of the intelligent. I am the source. Krishna is the proprietor of everything that exists, whatever wealth or property we may have. It is all Krishna's. We temporarily have some authority over it. But the supreme proprietor gives it, and eventually will take it away. And what can we do? If Krishna wants to evict us, you can't appeal to any governmental power or anyone else. His very body is the property of God. Krishna says, I'm the ability in man. I'm the strength of the strong. So we find so many great personalities who had all of these opulences in tremendous quantities. They were truthful and pure in heart, because they understood reality. They did not fall into this delusion of Maya. Maya means that which is not. And what is really, I'm not this body, Janasya Mahoya Mahamameti, and none of the things belonging to this body are mine. It's all the property of God. I'm the eternal spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, the eternal servant of Krishna. Therefore, the only really thing that is ours eternally and in truth is the opportunity to serve. In Krishna's soul, Patram Pushpam Pravanto Yam Yome Bhakta Prayashti. Even if we offer him a leaf, a flower, food, or water with devotion, Krishna accepts it. In fact, he is Bhakta Vatsala. We offer what is already his. Just like taking Ganga water and offering it to Mother Ganga. Does she need our palm full of water? How much water is in the Ganges River? Does she need the poundful that we take out from her and offer? Yes, she does. In the sense that she wants our love. And Krishna as Bhakta-Vatsala is conquered by the love of his devotee. That is the sweetness and glory of God. But when we start thinking in terms of I and mine, then the false ego, like a fever, rises. And in that feverish condition, we think things, we do things, we speak things, that cause us terrible karmic consequences. Here we find Daksha. Because he was so highly respected, honored, and worshipped, he thought he was better than others. Unless you think yourself better than others, you cannot actually criticize others. You can't disrespect someone that you feel is superior to yourself in your heart. Lord Chaitanya offered this prayer. If you want to actually approach Krishna, this is actually the nature of the soul. To be humble like a blade of grass, tolerant like a tree, very happy to offer all respect to others, and not expect respect for oneself. This is a problem when we expect. People may offer us all sorts of respect. That is not a problem unless you expect respect. Because if you expect it, and if you do not get it, you become very disturbed. Either you become depressed or you become angry. And if you become angry, the tendency is you make aparadhs or offenses to others. To actually chant the holy name of the Lord offenseless, if there are 10 offenses, it's really all about humility and faith. So Daksha was honored by everyone in that room except Lord Shiva, who was immersed in meditation. And Daksha was so angry, so angry. He couldn't tolerate Lord Shiva being worshipped by so many people when he was in a superior position. So he blasphemed Lord Shiva. And then later on he blasphemed Lord Shiva before his own daughter, who was Shiva's wife. And this created such a progressive cycle of dissension, disunity, even amongst people who were working together for years. So much disunity. It was like a little civil war going on. And it escalated in terrible violence. Hare Krishna. These are all just byproducts of the false ego. What are all the wars about in this world? People have big egos. They want to be the king. They want to be the ruler. They want to be the controller and the proprietor. And this land is mine. These facilities are mine. Fight. Prabhupada used the example. A gang of thieves rob a bank. And in their secret underground headquarters, they say, now let us divide this honestly. Honesty amongst thieves. So Shiva was very disturbed. Daksha was so arrogant to the extent that Lord Shiva's own wife ended her life due to her connection with him. She was daughter. So there was a big, extraordinary upset in the yajna, the social event of Daksha. And here Brahma is bringing the rishis, the sages, and many of the demigods to somehow or other get the blessings and the forgiveness of Lord Shiva. And it describes here that Lord Brahma is smiling. Now, if it wasn't for Srila Prabhupada, we would never know why Brahma was smiling. And it's so important to understand. It's a lesson in management, psychology, and also in spiritual etiquette. So we discuss for a moment. Yes, Brahma understood that Shiva is Ashutosh. He's easily satisfied, and he's also easily irritated. He's in an irritated state. And Lord Brahma, although he's the father time 311 trillion years, he lives in Brahma Loka, the topmost planet in the whole universe. Very powerful person. Even the demons cannot even approach him to cause violence. They only approach him for benedictions. But still, Lord Shiva is a higher, more powerful personality. And he's irritated. So Lord Brahma was actually fearful. He wanted to pacify Lord Shiva out of compassion to all the demigods, to all the sages and rishis, to Daksha, the offender. Lord Brahma did not approach for his own purpose. He approached for the welfare of others. And he smiled to conceal his fear. And also to try to create a nice atmosphere in which Lord Shiva may be receptive to his appeal. Well, this is very important. So Vilas Prabhu and myself were discussing this, and he was enlightening me on some realizations. But it's not just what you say, but how you say it. And even if you don't say anything, just your demeanor toward another can very much affect their consciousness. Prabhupada, sometimes he would speak very gravely. Sometimes he would speak as if he was angry. Sometimes he would speak with an effulgent smile, decorating his divine form. All of these various expressions should be utilized in the service of the Lord, in the service of the Vaishnavas, for the welfare of all living beings. as an act of compassion. Because that's what life is about, serving God. Now in the spiritual world, Krishna is performing the highest, most beautiful leelas in Sri Vrindavan with his devotees. Why does he come to this world? A world of birth and death. For only one purpose. To show compassion to the fallen souls. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate. Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate. The second part is what Krishna is doing in the spiritual world. Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate. He's the Lord of Gopis. He's the beloved of the Gopis. He's the beloved of Srimati Radharani. That is his eternal name in the spiritual world. But hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu, when he comes to this world, he's an ocean of mercy, an ocean of kindness. Dinabandhu, he's the friend of the most fallen. Jagatpate, he's the Lord of the universe. So that is the Lord's mission, to show kindness to those who are rebellious, to those who have rejected him, and to those who are suffering due to those offenses. It's his love, his forgiveness. And therefore the greatest service that a devotee could do in this world is help the Lord's mission. The Panchatattva plundered the storehouse of love of God, tasted it, and then distributed the contents profusely. And how did they distribute it? The Ananda Prabhu? What risks? Thakur Haridas? They were begging the conditioned souls, begging them, take the name of Krishna, be happy. You're suffering. Even if you don't know it, you are. You have lost the most precious jewel of God's love, which is within your own heart. And you're trying to find happiness playing with the broken pieces of glass of this world. Yes, it shines like jewels, but what is the result? What is its value? Thakur Haridas, whose Brahma himself was willing to be beaten, persecuted, insulted. Nityananda Prabhu was willing to be smashed on the head, bleeding profusely. Why? Just to help the Lord's mission of showing kindness to the fallen souls. So the stories of the lives of the great Vaishnavas are so sacred because they reveal to us the path we should try to follow. Today I was requested to speak on the subject of one of Srila Prabhupada's very dearly beloved, dedicated disciples, His Holiness Srila Bhaktitirth Swami. With your permission, I will try to speak a few words to you. Bless you for permission. We have seen in Maharaj's life how he was so deeply concerned with uplifting all classes of society. Recently, somebody asked Maharaj that everyone within our movement, you were the most successful in reaching out to the most prominent celebrities, politicians, and important people in society. Can you tell me, how you actually reach out and preach to such esteemed celebrities? Would you like to hear his answer? this is Maya. He said, you should be as eager to give Krishna's message to everybody. Whether they're the highest, most famous celebrities, or whether they're the most persecuted, unknown, insignificant people. Should not see a difference. If you do, you will become egoistic, thinking you're a great preacher. We should give this message to everyone. And he did. Not only was he giving his message to heads of states, famous people, wealthy people, but he was so deeply concerned with the downtrodden, the minorities, with people who were socially destitute. Why? It's nice to understand how Krishna puts devotees in particular situations to empower them. Unless we know poverty, it's difficult to understand the pains of poverty. Unless we know persecution, it's very difficult to really understand the suffering of being persecuted. Unless we understand what ridicule is about, it's understand what other people go through when they are ridiculed. Bhaktitirth was born in one of the most dangerous, downtrodden ghettos of America. The inner city ghetto of Cleveland, Ohio. And he came from a broken family. His father left the family before he was even born. His mother was a single parent, struggling with her children. They hardly had food to eat. He never had more than a couple sets of clothes. And Maharaj told me his mother wanted to teach them that virtue is so important, that concern for others is being well. All the kids in his neighborhood were in poverty. Sometimes he would come home and one of his friends would have ripped up clothes, and his mother would take one of Maharaj's sets of clothes, which was like practically the only other set of clothes but besides what he was wearing, and she would give it to that friend of his. That happiness is not about owning. Happiness is about serving. She was a Christian lady. So yes, he was born in very, very great poverty. And he was also from the pure persecuted race of African Americans. Now, for those of you who are younger, you do not understand what the African Americans went through in the 1950s. This is before Martin Luther King's drive for civil rights. If you were born in the ghetto, in poverty, it was 99.9% chance that you would remain in the poverty of the ghetto until you die. There was practically no way out. There was no opportunities, no chances. Rare souls somehow got out of that. And he was in a place where there was so much violence. He explained to me when he was a child, just growing up, he and all the kids of his neighborhoods carried guns, loaded, real guns, not Because if you got in an argument with somebody, which you always do, if they have a gun and you don't, either you have to submit yourself and surrender to their argument, or you get shot. He said, but if you have a gun, then you can show your gun and the willingness to shoot it, and that other person shoots his gun and the willingness to shoot it, and usually there's a standoff, and the argument is resolved. But no one wins. He said it was a matter of survival. And not only that, when he was a child, he had a serious speech defect. He could not speak. Sometimes it would take him 5 minutes to speak one word. It's like the house, He said he would be in school and the teacher would ask him to speak, and he couldn't finish a word. And it would be so frustrating. He would be hitting his hand against the desk and stomping his feet, just trying to get that word out. And everyone in the class would be laughing at him, ridiculing him. Very painful for a small child. He was from a persecuted race that was considered inferior by society, poverty, and even amongst his own people, he was being ridiculed as being a useless fool because he couldn't speak properly. Maharaj is one of the greatest success stories from rags to riches. Not material riches. He's struggling. But one thing that his family told us is whenever he would speak from the Bible, he would not stammer. He could speak eloquently. Any other thing he tried to speak on was a struggle to get the words out. They marked that. Anyway, somehow or other he struggled and overcame his speech defect. And really did his studies nicely. And he became a child evangelist. He was on television, preaching the Bible to people. When he was a small child. He had great faith in God. And eventually he became a tutor for children a little younger than him. And because he was so good at it, and he really cared about people so much that he was given a break. He was the only African American from the ghettos that was given entrance to a prep school of white Jewish people in an aristocratic, wealthy neighborhood, suburb of Cleveland. Because one of the students there was so impressed by his qualities that they convinced the principal to give him that chance. And from there he got full scholarship to Princeton University. He was actually offered to go to any college in America, Harvard, Yale, anything. His principal told him, because you're a minority, I can get you in any college you want because your grades and your character are so good. But Princeton offered him the best possible scholarship. They paid him. They paid him a lot to be a student. And while at Princeton, he explained to me at that time Princeton was mostly the children of very wealthy white people from the South, and they did not like African Americans. Most of them thought they should still be slaves. So he told me he had to carry a gun in Princeton. And yet he was a man of peace. studied psychology. He also studied political sciences with a tremendous economic future. But he was seeking higher truths in life. Nothing really made sense to him without self-realization. So he was searching and searching and searching. He knew the Bible. But he was also searching other aspects of spiritual knowledge. And eventually he had a guru from India. And this guru was teaching him so many things: meditation, breath control, various philosophy. He was so deeply inquisitive to understand more and more and more, that one day his guru told him that you really want to go deeper than anyone else. I've already taught you what I can tell you. If you want something deeper, you should go to the Hare Krishna movement. Because eventually they are speaking the highest knowledge. And A.C. Bhaktitirth Swami, he is speaking the highest truths. So he received the blessings of his guru to go to Srila Prabhupada and the Hare Krishna movement. And when he started reading Prabhupada's books, all the questions were answered. There was such deep satisfaction in his heart. In New York City, the Henry Street Temple, he became a devotee. But because there wasn't people of his background joining our movement, only a few people would even talk to him. Other devotees just didn't know how to deal with him. Princeton graduate from African American community, they didn't really know. So one time he told me this story. He said to Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, there is prejudice and racism in your movement. Hare Krishna. Would you like to hear Prabhupada's reply?
Yes, please.
Prabhupada is so expert at going right to the root of what we need to hear. When he said, Srila Prabhupada, there is racism and prejudice in your movement. Prabhupada didn't deny it, because he understood that the people coming to this movement have their previous conditionings. They're not all completely purified. Prabhupada said, if you are affected by what they say and do to you, then you are no better than them. Hare Krishna. In other words, they're on the bodily platform, and if you're affected by what they say, then you're on the bodily platform too. It's the same disease. That went deep into his heart. So he surrendered. Unconditionally, he surrendered. Became brahmachari. He was traveling with Satsvarup Goswami Maharaj for some time. He was in Dallas. And many things he had done in his devotional service, his enthusiasm, his determination, his fixation, excellent sadhana were profound. He joined the library party where they were taking Srila Prabhupada's books and putting them into universities all over America and then Western Europe. And then he entered into Eastern Europe. He was one of the topmost book distributors in the world, probably. And he was so creative, such a genius. He was willing to take every type of risk to get people from God's books. And he was in places like Romania and Czechoslovakia, Bulgaria, Hungary, Poland. At that time, it was during the Cold War. There was an iron curtain where communism was ruling over these people, and the government made religion practically illegal. The only religion that was acceptable by the atheistic governments are the religions that were controlled by them, giving them the churches their propaganda. And here's Bhaktitirth Maharaj in the library party, giving out books where Prabhupada says right in the very beginning of Bhagavatam that we're creating a revolution against atheism. And they read the books. In fact, the Soviet government, they said the three greatest threats to the communist regime are American dress, American music. They also included Coca-Cola, I think. American dress, American music, and the Hare Krishna movement. It's true. Why did they say the Hare Krishna movement? Because they studied our books, because they saw that our books were infiltrating their nation. And when they studied our books, the philosophy and the revolutionary, uncompromising science that Prabhupada was presenting was beyond them to defeat. If intelligent people read it, it's going to be the end of the communist regime. Hare Krishna. So they were strict. And here was an African-American person. First of all, he's American. And they hated America. They were the enemy. He's American. And he also has a black body, which was, there were no Africans behind the Iron Curtain in those days. So he really, really stood out. And yet he was trying to be undercover. Because it was the only way to survive. He had to smuggle the books in illegally, in large quantities. He did it. And now that they're smuggled in, he had to somehow or other go to the professors and the leaders of universities and convince them to buy entire sets of everything Prabhupada had written and put them in their libraries for the public to read. And he did it. There are so many stories of his running from the KGB and hiding from the police. And he would find out about a monastery or a university deep in the jungles, top of mountains, and he would climb and walk for days and get up. He was so determined, so enthusiastic, that in those days his schedule was, he would rise really early in the morning and chant, because he understood that all of his potency was coming from his connection to Prabhupada. And the connection to Prabhupada is most accessed when we chant the holy names. He was so deeply committed to chanting attentive rounds every single day. He would not do anything till he get his rounds done. So he would rise very early in the morning, and chant minimum 20 rounds. And then he would just go right to the colleges. As soon as the doors to the colleges were open, and before they were even open, he was standing waiting for them to open, because he didn't want to waste a second. Every second could be one less book of Prabhupada's being distributed to these desperate people. And he would work, and serve with so much enthusiasm and so much joy until the last door of the college was locked, which was usually around 10 at night. And then he would eat, for the first time of the day, prasad. And what kind of prasad he would eat was very austere. Just eat like some dates and something else. Very, very simple. So much austerity in the service of his guru, and yet he was in bliss. He did this for years. And with Prabhupada, we know the story when Srila Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, going through his pastime of departing from this world. Bhaktitirth Swami's reports were the most enlivening thing for Srila Prabhupada. Because the types of adventures and fearless determination that he offered to Prabhupada to distribute his books were incredible. He was a great writer, too. When Prabhupada would read his reports, he would have his secretary, Tamil Krishna Goswami or Bhaktitirth Swami, read. Sometimes he would hear Bhaktitirth Maharaj's reports again and again. At that time, his name was Ganesham. Tamil Krishna Goswami Maharaj explained how when respectable guests, Goswamis or scholars or old friends of Prabhupada would come to visit Prabhupada when he was in his bed, in a very, very physically weakened condition, Prabhupada would often have his assistants read Bhaktitirth Maharaj's reports to them. Again and again and again. He was so proud. He was so enlivened. He was so grateful. Bhaktitirth Maharaj was getting letters from Prabhupada's secretaries. Please send more reports, more than anything else, Prabhupada. He says it's his medicine. He said it's keeping him alive. These reports are keeping him alive. How his devotees are going through so much incredible devotion to distribute books. So you know the story how Prabhupada decided to go to London when his doctors said, you're about to leave your body, you can't travel across the world. you will never survive this. You must stay here. Prabhupada wanted to inspire and enliven his devotees in the Western world. Not only did he come to London, but he had all plans to come to America too. Prabhupada gave his life, his soul, his everything to show his gratitude to his disciples and to try to inspire them and show his love for them. So against all doctors' orders, Prabhupada went to London. And at that time, Bhaktitirth Maharaj was in Eastern Europe, in the communist countries. And when he heard Prabhupada had come, or was coming, he and Krishna Kshetra Prabhu and Swami. They drove all the way from Eastern Europe to London, practically non-stop. Prabhupada was reciprocating with the devotees who came from all over Europe. People would have come to America from America, but Prabhupada said he was coming to America. And Prabhupada's personal entourage invited Bhaktitirth Maharaj to come and meet Prabhupada personally because they knew how much joy and pleasure he gave. When Bhaktitirth Maharaj came into Prabhupada's room, he was sitting behind his little desk at Bhaktivedanta Manor. Prabhupada called Bhaktitirth Maharaj amongst the others who was there to come and sit with him, beside him. And when Bhaktitirth Maharaj came to him, Prabhupada embraced him. His body, Prabhupada's body, was so frail and so physically sickly, but he embraced Bhaktitirth Ganesham. He embraced him and cried tears of affection. He held him for a long time. And then with tears of love for his disciple, Prabhupada said, "Your life is successful. Thank you very much." Now when the news came to all the devotees from all over Europe there, that Prabhupada showed such special mercy to Ganesham, everyone was bowing down to him and everything, which he was not accustomed to. It was the talk of Bhaktivedanta Manor. In fact, it was the talk of the world. How Prabhupada showed so much gratitude and affection for his disciple, for the sacrifices of love that he was offering to him, for the creative intelligence in which he was using to serve Prabhupada by giving his books to the people who are most desperately in need in the world. Of course, Srila Prabhupada, his health deteriorated so drastically that it was not possible for him to come to America. So he returned to Vrindavan, where his final chapter of his Leela took place. Now, understood that his love for Prabhupada would be shown by his sincerity and his determination to carry on Prabhupada's mission. And his preaching only increased like anything. In fact, our movement in Africa was really, really weak. Prabhupada had gone a long time, but especially when Prabhupada went to Nairobi, Kenya, he saw many Indian people coming. Prabhupada was pleased with that. When he told his disciples that this is nice, but what about the Africans? What about the Africans? This is Africa. Our movement is not successful unless you reach out and transform their hearts and give them Krishna. But nobody knew how to do that. That was very difficult. That was crossing cultural barriers that devotees just didn't know how to do. So the leadership of ISKCON requested Ganesham to go to Africa and give Krishna consciousness to the Africans. So he went to places like Nigeria and Ghana and the Ivory Coast and Liberia. These are dangerous places. These are places where every couple of months there could be a major violent political takeover, revolutions. Yes. And Maharaj told me that places that he was preaching, so much poverty, so much disease. It's unbelievable. And he said, after eating nice prasad, very difficult in those days. There's practically no proper food. But he understood that Prabhupada wanted the Africans to get Krishna. And he had the blessings of his senior godbrothers. And he stayed for years and years and years. And what phenomenal work he did. It's unbelievable. It's such high risk. Thousands and thousands of African people, the native Africans, were taking to Krishna consciousness, surrendering their lives. It was opening center after center after center. And there was a lot of dissension too. Confidentially, he told me he had so many death threats. So many people were threatening his life. There were people trying to poison him with his food. And people who were going to these various priests to put voodoo curses on him. And they knew how to do it. These voodoo curses are realities there. This is what he was dealing with practically on a daily basis. All kinds of fights. And trying to preach to the government. And you start getting people with the government favorable, and then another opposing party comes and violently, just through violence, just kicks one government out, and anybody who was favorable, and anyone who was connected to the previous government was to be murdered, just like the government. That's the way these takeovers were. He was the leader. So he had to be very, very careful. If you don't cultivate the government, you can't preach. If you do cultivate the government, then you'll be killed when there's a takeover. So what would you do? Very difficult situation. But it thrived. It thrived. One of my very dear godbrothers told me that the GBC was suspicious about Bhaktitirth Swami's ways of preaching. So they sent him and another very senior devotee to Africa to actually see what he was doing. Because nobody wanted to go there. It's very difficult. And they went, and they came back with a report. This is the most powerful, successful, creative preaching in the entire planet that we've ever seen. What he's doing is phenomenal. But it wasn't very famous because nobody really knows or cares what happens in West African countries. They did it. Full power. Incredible. And how he danced, and how he chanted, and how he preached. And he came back to America and started to send in Washington, D.C. And even today, some of the most educated, professional people in our whole movement are people that he brought to Krishna consciousness through his very innovative ways of preaching. Very innovative. But what was the result? People totally surrendered to Krishna, Prabhupada, and Vaishnava culture. Amazing. Psychiatrists, psychologists, people in high places in the U.S. government, professors, inaugurated recently, these types of people were coming every day. His disciples, his followers. Unbelievable. He was a visionary. And he traveled all over the world. When he would give seminars in Russia, and did the Morse Festival 2 years ago, I happened to be there. And he was getting, there was 5 seminars going on simultaneously with leaders of our society, giving all 5. And they gave him the biggest room that was overflowing. He was getting, every day, over 3,000 people to his seminars.